Remember the raw intensity of Platoon? That 1986 masterpiece that captured the chaos of Vietnam? Fast forward to 2025 and join us as we revisit the iconic cast, then and now. From fresh-faced stars to seasoned legends, let's dive into their journeys, triumphs, and transformations. Stick around for the nostalgia trip. Number 1. Keith David, who played King. At 30 in 1986, Keith portrayed the wise and compassionate squad member offering guidance amid the war's horrors. After Platoon, he's shown in films like There's Something About Mary and Crash, earned 3 Emmys for documentary narration, voiced iconic characters in Gargoyles and Mortal Kombat games, and starred on Broadway in 7 Guitars. At 69 in 2025, he's voicing roles in films like Finding Faith and Mufasa, The Lion King while releasing his first jazz album, and touring musical shows honoring Nat King Cole. Number 2. Forrest Whitaker, who played Big Harold. At 25 in 1986, Forrest embodied the gentle machine gunner, providing quiet strength in the platoon. Post-Platoon, he won an Oscar for The Last King of Scotland as Idi Amin, directed Waiting to Exhale, starred in Black Panther as Zuri, and earned a Cannes Award for Bird. At 64 in 2025, he's acting in series like Emperor of Ocean Park, starring in films such as Havoc and The King of Kings, and pursuing humanitarian work through his Whitaker Peace and Development Initiative. Number 3. Francesco Quinn, who played Ra. At 23 in 1986, Francesco depicted the philosophical, drug-influenced soldier with a mystical edge. Following Platoon, he appeared in TV shows like JAG and NCIS, voiced characters in animated series, and had roles in films such as Transformers, Dark of the Moon. He passed away in 2011 from a heart attack at age 48. Number 4. Kevin Dillon, who played Bunny. At 21 in 1986, Kevin captured the sadistic and reckless young infantryman reveling in violence. After Platoon, he gained fame as Johnny Drama in Entourage, earning 3 Emmy nominations, starred in Blue Bloods episodes, and featured in films like Poseidon. At 60 in 2025, he's starring in films like The Highest Stakes, hosting Victory the Podcast, and working on comedy projects including Buddy Game sequels. Number 5. John C. McGinley, who played Sergeant O'Neill. At 27 in 1986, John portrayed the obsequious and survival-focused sergeant aligning with the brutal Barnes. Post-Platoon, he became beloved as Doctor. Perry Cox in Scrubs for 9 seasons, appeared in Office Space and The Rock, and starred in Stand Against Evil. At 66 in 2025, he's acting in the untitled HBO comedy with Steve Carell, expected to join the Scrubs reboot, and advocating for Down syndrome awareness. Number 6. Mark Moses, who played Lieutenant Wolf. At 28, in 1986, Mark depicted the inexperienced and overwhelmed platoon leader struggling with command. Following Platoon, he gained recognition as Paul Young in Desperate Housewives, Duck Phillips in Mad Men, and appeared in films like Bombshell and Letters from Iwo Jima. At 67 in 2025, he's continuing television roles, including guest spots, and supporting various charities. Number 7. Corey Glover, who played Francis. At 22 in 1986, Corey portrayed the optimistic and music-loving soldier, finding solace in camaraderie. Post-Platoon, as lead vocalist of Living Colour, he released hits like Cult of Personality, toured worldwide, won Grammys, and acted in Reunion. At 60 in 2025, he's performing live with the band, working on new music, and exploring solo projects. Number 8. Johnny Depp, who played Lerner. At 23 in 1986, Johnny captured the quiet and introspective interpreter facing war's brutality. After Platoon, he rose to fame in 21 Jump Street, earned Oscar nods for Pirates of the Caribbean, collaborated with Tim Burton on Edward Scissorhands and Alice in Wonderland, and produced films. At 62 in 2025, he's directing Modi, starring in Jean de Barry sequels, and touring with Hollywood vampires. Number 9. Chris Pedersen, who played Crawford. At 23 in 1986, Chris embodied the laid-back surfer-turned-soldier adapting to jungle warfare. Following Platoon, he appeared in Point Break as Bunker in Twin Peaks, Firewalk with Me, then shifted to music with bands and NASCAR racing. At 62 in 2025, he's focused on auto racing competitions and technology ventures, away from acting. Number 10. Corky Ford, who played Manny. At approximately 25 in 1986, Corky depicted the easygoing squad member brutally tortured by the enemy. Post-Platoon, he starred in Born on the 4th of July as a veteran, Tough Guys, Alligator, and episodes of MASH. Now, at approximately 64 in 2025, he has stepped away from the screen, living a private life after his memorable Vietnam-era roles. Number 11. David Niedorf, who played Tex. At 24 in 1986, David embodied the tough-talking Texan infantryman navigating moral dilemmas. Following Platoon, he's shown in Bull Durham as Skull, Hoosiers, and TV like In the Heat of the Night. At 62 in 2025, he's transitioned to property management, occasionally appearing in interviews and podcasts discussing his iconic sports and war films. Number 12. Tom Berenger, who played Sergeant Barnes. At 37 in 1986, Tom delivered an Oscar-nominated performance as the ruthless, battle-hardened sergeant. After Platoon, he starred in Major League, Sniper Series, Inception, Training Day, and won an Emmy for Hatfields and McCoys. At 76 in 2025, he's semi-retired, granting interviews on his career, supporting veterans, and enjoying motorcycle rides with groups like Rolling Thunder. Number 13. Willem Dafoe, who played Sergeant Elias. At 31 in 1986, Willem portrayed the compassionate, idealistic sergeant clashing with brutality. Post-Platoon, he earned 4 Oscar nods for Shadow of the Vampire, The Florida Project, At Eternity's Gate, and Poor Things, starred in Spider-Man Trilogy and The Lighthouse. At 70 in 2025, he's artistic director of Venice Biennale Theatre, performing in experiments like No Title and collaborating with Wooster Group. Number 14. Charlie Sheen, who played Chris. At 21 in 1986, Charlie portrayed the idealistic young volunteer thrust into Vietnam's horrors. After Platoon, he starred in Wall Street, Major League, Hot Shots, earned Golden Globes for Spin City and 2.5 Men, led anger management, and navigated public controversies including his HIV disclosure. At 60 in 2025, he's staging a Hollywood comeback with roles in Bookie, Ramble On, and guest appearances while focusing on sobriety and family. Number 15. Richard Edson, who played Sal. At 32 in 1986, Richard depicted the street-smart soldier providing comic relief amid chaos. After Platoon, he appeared in Do the Right Thing, Stranger Than Paradise, Super Mario Bros., Desperately Seeking Susan, and Timecode while pursuing music with Sonic Youth and Conk. At 71 in 2025, he's living in Los Angeles, active in photography, writing, and occasional indie film roles. Number 16. Tony Todd, who played Warren. At 32 in 1986, Tony embodied the steadfast sergeant offering moral grounding in the platoon. Following Platoon, he became iconic as Candyman, starred in Final Destination series, The Crow, The Rock, voiced Transformers, and performed on stage. He passed away in 2024 from stomach cancer at age 69. Number 17. J. Adam Glover, who played Sanderson. At approximately 25 in 1986, J. Adam portrayed the loyal squad member killed in a booby trap explosion. After Platoon, he appeared in Wall Street as a traitor and contributed to the documentary Platoon, Brothers in Arms. With limited roles, he shifted away from acting. At approximately 64 in 2025, he's living a private life, occasionally participating in film reunions and fan discussions about his iconic war role. Number 18. Evan Kane, who played Tony. At 29 in 1986, Evan depicted the tough, streetwise infantryman facing combat's grim realities. Post-Platoon, he starred in Gettysburg as Captain Grover, On Deadly Ground, Bound, and transitioned to writing while opening nightclubs like 40 Deuce. At 68 in 2025, he's managing entertainment venues in Las Vegas, producing events, and exploring new script projects in Hollywood. Number 19. Dale Dye, who played Captain Harris. At 42 in 1986, Dale portrayed the Stern Company commander enforcing discipline. After Platoon, the Vietnam vet became a top military advisor for Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, earned roles in Night and Day, and wrote novels like Run Between the Raindrops. At 81 in 2025, he's hosting Warriors Inc. podcasts, consulting on war films, and advocating for veterans. Number 20. Lee Thi Van, who played Village Chief's daughter. At 12 in 1986, Lee Thi Van, now known as Erica or Edith Thomas, depicted the innocent villager in a harrowing scene. Post-Platoon, her acting career was brief, with an appearance in the documentary Brothers in Arms. At 51 in 2025, she's living privately, occasionally reuniting with cast members like Tom Berenger at events honoring the film. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.